What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to the Inside View Real Estate Podcast. And we are going to be talking about what it's like to buy a home in 2021. Stay tuned. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Inside View Real Estate Podcast. I am one of your hosts, Josh Zunigan, my sexy man over here with the ties, Carl Freund.
Trying to, Jason Statham that shit.
Absolutely, man. You're looking fabulous today.
Thank you.
How's your
Likewise.
day been so far?
Amazing.
Yeah?
Trying to make some money.
Absolutely. But outside of making money, let's really give it down to a real aspect of what it's like to buy a house here within 2021. There's plenty of buyers that are, probably listening to this, either from millennials, all the way up into maybe even retirement age, and they want to know exactly what it's like to buy a house here within Phoenix, and let's even probably nationally, because nationally, everything's going crazy. Everything's going really, really wild.
Yes,
So let's touch
it's
base
tough.
on that. Tell me what you think.
Do you like money?
Yes.
Okay.
I think
Do
it's
you
a
think the
necessity.
audience likes money?
It's a necessity, people.
Let me break this down for you, because I really think about this, and this is one of my big go-tos. If you're out there and you're making $50,000 a year, $60,000 a year, and you're like, that ain't enough. I can't retire on that. After your expenses, you got car payments, you got credit card bills, you got fucking student loans, you got groceries, you got kids to take care of, you got my fucking health insurance is $600 a month.
Oh my God.
Right?
Yeah.
So when you break it down, you say, wait a minute, I'm making $60K a year. Sounds like a lot of money. It's not a lot of money. How are you going to get to the next level working a job? You don't have money for savings. You don't have money for investment. How are you going to make money? You can buy real estate, right?
Side hustle.
Yeah, well, yeah, you can. I'm not talking about OnlyFans here, Josh.
Yeah. Oh, hey, guys, make sure to follow me. Just kidding.
Watch my mouth. No, so seriously, like, investing in real estate is the gateway to generational wealth, right? If you're smart and you invest into real estate and don't try to time the fucking market. We talk about this, I think, in the last episode, is like, you can't really time the market. It's, buy real estate and just wait. Just wait. It doesn't matter what the market's going to do. If you're going to live in the house for the next 15 or 20 years, you're going to see 2 cycles in there anyway. It doesn't fucking matter, right? So everybody's like trying to worry and well, what if the housing prices go down 10% next year? Doesn't fucking matter. In 8 years, it'll correct itself. It'll figure itself out, right? But in that 8 years, instead of blowing money on rent and spending a shitload of money on taxes, invest that money into a house that you're going to live in, that you're actually using every single day, right? You're building equity in it. You're paying down that mortgage balance. People think about it like, well, if I buy it for $300,000, it's worth $300,000 in 5 years. I didn't make any net gain. That's not correct, because you're paying down the mortgage balance, right? In 5 years, you're going to pay down $30,000, right? Makes sense.
There's the numbers.
There's a $30,000. That's a 50% of your yearly salary in a savings account. It's locked up in your house in terms of equity.
Yes.
But what about the taxes that you saved? If you're a W-2, employee, you got to pay a shitload of taxes. What's a great way to offset that? Well, the interest expense on the mortgage, right? That's still allowed right now. Now that may change. They've been talking about changing that for 10 years now. I don't think it'll change in the near future. But you can write off that, and you can write off the property taxes, right? It makes sense to invest in real estate. And a lot of you are like, hey, look, I want to upgrade the house. Fantastic. Think about hanging on to your existing home, building a portfolio, because you guys are only thinking in terms of one house at a time. Stop buying one house at a time. Buy a starter home, take that starter home, turn it into a rental, cash flow the shit out of it. If you need to pull a little bit of equity out, we can do that, right? If you're like, I need money for a down payment on the new one, but it's locked up in equity, let's get you a cash out refi. Take that cash, put the cash down on the new house. It's allowed, right? Now, you can take that other house that you used to own, or the starter house, turn it into a rental. It's going to offset the mortgage. You're going to continue to build equity. You're going to pay down that loan, right? There's still tax deduction benefits on that. You can put it in an LLC. You can do a lot of different things. I'm not going to tell you how to do that, but we can get into that.
We can go into
We'll bring in an expert.
Another
for that.
episode.
Okay?
Another episode.
Yeah, it's a different episode. But start building a portfolio so that your 4th or 5th house that you own, now you've got 3 or 4 houses behind it that are all cash flowing, that are all building equity, that are all building generational wealth that you can give to your kids, that they can inherit. They can inherit that cash flow stream. They can inherit that equity. If shit hits the fan, you're like, shit, the house is paid off. You can sell it, or you can take out an equity loan against it, right?
Yeah.
So, let me answer real quick. Should you buy a house in 2021? Why the fuck wouldn't you be buying real estate right now? I'm not saying overpay for it.
There's the nugget, ladies and gentlemen.
Don't overpay for it.
Yeah.
Don't get excited and be like, Carl said go buy real estate. Josh said go buy a bunch of real estate. You make stupid ass decisions and overpay for shit. I'm not saying that. I'm saying buy real estate for a long-term investment. Don't try to get rich overnight. Have patience. Have patience.
That's the name of the game, especially in 2021. That's to tell a lot of my clients. That's like the biggest word that I use nowadays, especially for buyers, is have patience.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that you touched, and I'm gonna touch into my story here a little bit, because you literally just gave a summary of what I've done, over the last like 10 years. Actually, let's start back going back to high school. My father and my parents, they grew up as entrepreneurs. They owned Advantage Plus Credit Reporting. They've owned it for 30 years, and I was able to see them build a portfolio of rental properties and do flips. And they're the main reason I'm in real estate. Thank you, Mom and Dad. I love you, and I'm so grateful for you. But, outside of that, my dad was having me read Rich Dad, Poor Dad in high school to understand the fundamentals and the mechanics, and especially the terminology of what real estate really has to offer. And seeing what he was making on his rental portfolio was obviously a big number. And he did exactly what you did with me. When I was 16 years old, he sat me down at the kitchen table and he's like, Josh, what do you want to make? How many parents actually do that? And what I'm going to say is not enough. And I've done that with several people, in my life, as far as even being like little mentors. How much do you make, or how much do you want to make? And let's really break that down. And I said, just a wild number. I was like, well, at 16, 100,000 sounds nice. And then he said, this is how he broke it down. I was like, all right, great. You want to make 100,000? You want a nice house? Yes. He's like, you want a nice car? Yes. You're going to get married? Yes. You're going to have 2 cars, one for her, one for you? Yes. You're going to have kids? Yes. You're going to have health insurance for everybody? Yes. You're going to have car insurance for everybody? Boom. That 100,000, boom, shrunk down to something like that. You're just like shocked of how much versus how much is going out versus how much is coming in on a steady basis. And now he's like, now, son, I'm going to teach you how to invest and show you what it's like to accumulate rental properties, to earn cash flow, and to also take advantage of what the appreciation has to do with what the market is driving up. And guess what? I'm not paying down those mortgages. My tenants are. Mm-hmm. I'm cash flowing on each property, and then I'm also earning the appreciation and the equity as it increases year after year after year after year. So if I ever decide to sell one, great. We're gonna have like a nice little payday there, essentially, that you can invest maybe in one more property or another property, or you can unload them and buy maybe a bigger complex, maybe like a 10 or 12 or 14 units, something of that aspect. So having those conversations and having those discussions as far as investing at an early age was a huge benefit to me. I'm working on my 4th property, and I've done it strategically and know how to do it effectively. And we can help you guys and really sit down with you if this is something you want to do, and how to buy a property and then buy another one the next year, and then another one the next year, and another one the next year, and buy it for minimal down payment. There's a strategy for that, guys, and we can teach you how to do that. Just reach out to us. We're happy to help you with. So as far as buying real estate in 2021, if you're looking to invest and create generational wealth, 100% absolutely. You should have done it last year. You shouldn't have done it the year before that. And if you haven't done it, you need to start now. Boom.
Yep.
So let's talk about the climate, though. What is it like to buy, though?
Scary
I know
shit.
it's scary right now. So buying is definitely, you need to do it. But what is it like when we're trying to go out there, we meet with the agent and actually make the offers?
Yeah, don't be a little bitty, right?
Yeah.
You need to
Thick skin on this one, guys.
Yeah, you guys, you need to stack up. You got to raise some offers,
Yeah.
right? And so be very aware that, number one, it ain't gonna be the first house.
Mm-hmm.
Very unlikely to be the first house. But you nailed it the other day. We were talking about this. You got to get aggressive and you got to get creative.
Aggressive is a real
And so
big one.
if it's a situation where you have flexibility on your lease, so you got like 3 months left on your lease, understand what the seller actually needs. And I think we talked about this one-on-one the other day. It was like, a lot of times price isn't going to be the biggest factor.
Terms are actually winning a lot more than
Way more,
than
because
price.
the seller's got to go back into that same market that you just had to fight for, right? And they got to buy a house. But nobody wants to take a contingent offer. So what if you got really creative? And you nailed it the other day when you told me this. It was like, you got to go out there and you got to basically say, hey, look, seller, I'm going to give you another 30 days or 45 days or 60 days or whatever it takes for you to get under contract as a non-contingent buyer with cash and a mortgage in hand, so you can go out into the market and you can compete against all these other offers, against cash offers. You can close quick and not be a contingent offer.
Yes.
That is worth more to me as a seller than an extra $5,000 my price.
Yeah.
That I'm not going to see anyway. It's going to go in the equity in the next house.
Yeah.
Right? So get creative, and be flexible. Have that flexibility. And you absolutely nailed it the other day.
Yeah. So, guys, if you haven't talked with a lender, you haven't even met with a real estate agent, we're happy to put you in touch with one, and we can speak with you personally. But just to kind of sum up a little bit what Carl is talking about, because I'm showing clients houses every day or every week, because there's so many people that are wanting to take advantage of these interest rates. And I said it earlier, patience is one of the biggest things. and going into these houses, aggressive, because I think it's for like there's 24 people or something like that, around 20 people for every one house that's on the market right now for people that are trying to make offers on it.
Yeah, it's insane.
I just made an offer and I beat them. I beat out 6 other offers because of my creative terms and also because of the price. And mind you, there's no offer that's getting accepted if there's multiple offers at asking price. Unless
it's way overpriced.
Yeah, exactly,
Right?
and way overpriced. So, but going into that climate, guys, you have to know and be prepared that, hey, we're going to give this doing our best shot, and me as an agent, I always have a wonderful relationship with the other agent. That is key, guys. That is 100% key.
Yeah, if your agent sucks, they're not communicating, then call Josh.
Yeah. Communication is one of the biggest things, especially when it comes to this, and you have to go above and beyond instead of just submitting a piece of paper that's blank. There's no history behind it. There's no human element to it.
Yeah, that ain't gonna
And
work.
I always like to do business with my heart, so there's a human element.
For sure. You're a solid dude, man.
Yeah, absolutely. So going into that, and then also knowing and saying what the seller actually needs, personally, doing a post-possession agreement for them because people have to, have to sell, but they also have to move out.
Yeah.
And sometimes they need that house to close in order for them to fund the next purchase. So having that little 3 to 5 day buffer for them to fully move out and clean the place is a huge thing too.
It's a huge thing. And guys, I know your designated broker is going to have a shit fit about post-possession. Do a lease. I'm a designated broker. I can say this. I can
Yes.
actually give
Yeah,
advice on
here-
this.
here we
legally,
go.
Right? Do a lease. Do an AAR lease. Put a security deposit down. Let them rent it from you. You can do it, I think, on most conventional loans up to 90 days.
Mm-hmm.
Have that flexibility. I think the key word here is flexibility for a buyer.
Yeah, absolutely. And even going into that, guys, the biggest thing, especially with this, you're going to have to pay, either above asking price, and you're not asking for closing costs. Guys, there's a lot of, when we speak with a lot of buyers, they're not familiar exactly what closing cost is. When you go and say the price is $200,000 and you decide to put 3% down, okay? So you have to pay for that down payment plus closing costs. Closing costs has to do with a lot with like what your lender fees, origination fees, escrow, and title. And that can range anywhere from an additional 2.5% to like 3% on top of your down payment. I was just talking with a client right now. He's trying to buy a $250,000 condo. So I was telling him, you have to come in with 15 grand minimum.
Minimum.
Yeah. If we offer over asking price, as an example, 255, that's $5,000 over asking price, and that property does not appraise, we're going to talk about appraisals, does not appraise at 255, you most likely have to come in with that additional $5,000 if you want to get the home.
So what if it didn't appraise?
You have options.
What are the options?
You have options. If it does not appraise at 255, one, you can cancel and you can back out.
Can I get my earnest money back?
You can get your earnest money back.
All right,
unless that seller and that agent say in order for you to get the deal, you have to sign an appraisal waiver. That's meaning you're literally saying, I want it no matter what, even if it comes in low, I'm going to give you the additional 5.
Okay.
You can either, like you said, come in with the cash, or if you're able to negotiate, maybe he comes in half and you come a half, and you guys agree upon that, then cool, you can seal it up and you continue on, to closing day. But that's the reality of what buyers are going through. And like I say, it's a tough, it's aggressive market. You have to be patient. You're probably going to go in over asking price, and you may have to sign an appraisal waiver, and that's going to really lock up that cash, for the seller, and that's going to come out of your pocket. So be prepared to have cash on hand for your down payment, for your closing costs, and maybe a little extra if you're offering over asking price. If you don't have to sign that appraisal waiver, then the appraisal is going to be gospel on really what it is, and then the agents are going to have that discussion about, all right, who's paying for it?
Okay, so if an appraisal comes in low, I have 3 options. Let me just recap so I can cancel the deal, get my earnest money back, as long as I didn't sign the appraisal waiver.
Correct.
I can renegotiate the price
Correct.
and meet somewhere-ish in the middle, hopefully.
Yeah.
Or I can just come up with a difference.
Yes.
So say the appraisal came in at $240,000, I can make up that $15,000 difference?
If you didn't sign the waiver.
And the seller's like, go pound sand, I'll go find another buyer. You got to make that $15,000.
At that point in time, it's probably, if you don't have that kind of funds to make up that big a difference,
Don't sign an appraisal waiver?
don't sign the appraisal waiver, or you're going to be out your earnest money.
Yep.
Because even I, as a client, I'm going to say, hey man, if you don't have the cash, that's what we're going to educate you on exactly. That was going to be one of the options potentially. And if you get cold feet at the end, I totally get it, man. I totally understand, because if it came in $15,000 shy and I only have 20 and I have to come in with 35, I don't have it.
I think we need to touch on appraised value versus market value.
There's a big difference. And Carl, I know you love to touch on this. Let's get it.
Because it gets me kind of fired up.
He gets
right?
it. Here you go.
And so the appraised value really looks at the historical values in the immediate neighborhood for something that is very, very comparable, meaning that if you got a 3-bed, 2-bath with a pool, the appraiser is only looking at 3-bed, 2 baths with a pool. Yes, the market might demand or command a higher price than the appraised value in understanding what that looks like. But guys, don't get caught up. If you're selling a house and the appraisal comes in low, don't take it personally. If you're buying a house and the appraisal comes in low, understand that the market value is different than the appraised value, right? You got to nut up and you got to just write the check. Just write the check.
That's the biggest thing, guys. I was saying patience. And in 2021, if you are going to be a buyer, the biggest word is going to be patience and just waiting for that right house. Whether it's 5 houses or 20 houses you have to see, just make sure that you remain patient. You're going to have to make more than one offer, probably sometimes 2 or 3 on different homes, and really just wait for the one that we get. And if it is the right one and you're comfortable with all the terms, then cool, we can proceed forward, pass inspection and pass the appraisal and see it all the way through closing. So if you guys are looking for any additional information on exactly what you're trying to buy, or maybe even get in touch with a lender, feel free to contact us at any point in time. We're always happy to help you.
Follow you on social media, man.
Follow
You
me
got a
on
great
social
page.
media, Josh Zuniga _.
Yeah.
I'll always be there for you guys, and we're happy to take care of you either way. Everybody we treat, as family. Nobody comes into our world, into our experience as friends. Everybody's always embraced. Everybody's always loved, and we're happy to help you and your family at any point in time. But until next time, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. That was what we think of the forecast is going to be for the buyers in 2021. And we got so much extra good stuff coming up, to even talking about credit, to even get you qualified. So make sure to stay tuned. Good afternoon.
You just
Good afternoon. Here we go. Good after more. We'll get it on this time. Good afternoon. Stay tuned, ladies and gentlemen. We got plenty more bloopers for you.